Yes, brothers and sisters, welcome back to another episode of the Nee Divvies podcast. And today's special guest, it's Mr. Jack Draper. How are you, my brother?
Yeah, I'm not too bad, mate. Yourself?
Good. All good, mate. Listen, good to have you up here. We meet at last.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's been a long time coming, isn't it?
It has, actually, yeah. It has. You know, I've spoke to you in private many times. I've spoke to Paul Venice about you many times. You know, you speak to Paul a lot as well, so we've got a mutual friend there.
Yeah, yeah.
And big shout out, Paul Venice.
Yeah, shout out Paul Venice. Yeah.
Now, I watch your channel. I watch your content. I think it's brilliant.
Thank you.
I like the way you keep away from the shit show. And you know, some of the stuff, some of the content you put on has been like out of the box.
Yeah.
And it's been decent, you know what I mean?
Trying to change it up a bit.
It's good crack. It's quite creative, you know what I mean? And I like it. Now, the reason I want you on here, because I want to promote you as a person, you know what I mean? Because I spoke to Paul about this many times, like the usual type of guests that I have on here.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how to put it, you know, they've got, it's usually criminal backgrounds.
Yeah.
Often criminal backgrounds, fighting backgrounds, prison, drugs, them type of guests, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I extended this invitation to you because I wanted to come on and, you know, I wanted to show that this is how it should be done.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You're stable, you're steady, you're from a good background, you've been well brought up, you've avoided prison, you've never been arrested, and you're a bare knuckle fighter. Yeah. Yeah, so...
Yeah. I mean, yeah, growing up, it was, like I said, I had both mum and dad. I had a loving family. I had one older brother. And, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, we wasn't well off. We had everything we needed. We didn't have everything we want, but we had everything we needed. Do you know what I mean? Dad went to work. Mum did her best by me and my brother. Yeah, I had a loving childhood growing up. The fighting side of things comes from my dad, because he was a tough man in his day. He went through, he had a troubled childhood, and he made it his mission to make sure we never went through what he did. You know what I mean? And I can't say too much about what happened in his childhood, because there's a lot of it was all to do with his dad. His dad was a lot of the trouble, but his dad left him, went off and started another family, and that family doesn't know what went on. Obviously, I told you last night in private what went on, but they don't know nothing about it. So, and my old man's very, very old school in the way he's like, look, the man's not here to defend himself anymore, so no need for anyone to know about what went on. But yeah, my dad had a rough upbringing. He had a violent past, and he's been to prison a few times, and ex-doorman, enforcer, if you call it, for families and stuff like that. He's been around the block. He knows the game well, and I think for me it was more the stories that I heard growing up, not just from him but from his friends, and I think, oh, I want to be like that. I want to be like my dad. What kid doesn't want to be like their dad?
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, and I think that's what sparked my interest in the fight game, really. Yeah.
So school, I was school. You know, you're obviously a big lump of a lad. You know what I mean? How did you get on at school?
School, it weren't too bad, mate. To be honest with you, it could have been a lot worse. In primary school, I wouldn't say I was the most popular kid, because I couldn't play football. Do you know what I mean? For where I'm from, it's almost if you can play football, you're popular for some reason. I don't know why, but I was the type of kid that would go to kick the ball, completely miss, fall on my ass, and I was that kid. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't play football to save my life. So primary school wasn't too bad, and then I got into secondary school. It wasn't bad, but there was quite a bit of bullying in the early years. Nothing physical, it was all just mental torture, do you know what I mean? All the name calling, you're a fat, you're this, you're that. Being made to look silly in front of girls, because at our school, we had an all-boys school right next to an all-girls school. So when the schools would finish, all the boys and girls would all go out mingling together and whatnot. And whenever I'd try and sort of mingle with another girl or whatever, someone would come along and be like, what are you talking to him for? He's fat. He's that. Like, proper make you look like this big in front of everyone. Do you know what I mean? And so that kind of went on for a long time. And it did get quite bad at one point. I tried to, one night, I think I was around about 12 or 13. I just had enough. It was over a girl, same thing. Like I liked the girl, and she was like, nah, you're fat, you're ugly, you're this, you're that. So I just went home. I went upstairs in my bedroom, and I I had you remember those old bunk beds with like the sofa on the bottom of them?
Yeah.
I had one of them.
We had one, yeah.
And I just got my school tie. I tied it around my neck, tied it to the top of the bedpost and jumped off. Didn't even think about it. But luckily, the bedpost just snapped and I just hit the floor. And this was around about, this was year 8 going into year 9 this happened.
Wow.
And I remember when I hit the floor, I remember thinking, what the fuck am I doing? Why did I just do that? How stupid am I? All because of like kids fucking calling me names. And the thing was as well, it was mad because I wasn't scared to fight any of them. I'd always been in out of the boxing gym as a youngster. But for me, I was scared to go home and face my dad if I got in trouble for fighting. I didn't, mate, I've seen what he's done to people. I've seen him shout, I've seen him fucking have older people, and I just thought, no, I don't want that. I'm staying well out of trouble, do you know what I mean? So, but in the end, I told him, I said, Dad, I'm being bullied at school. He said, why haven't you done anything about it? I said, because I don't want to get in trouble with you. And then he went, boy, he said, don't worry about what I've got to say. He said, if someone's picking on you, he said, you fucking smack them. And that was that. That was it. I went to school and yeah, just anyone after that picked on me in school, I'd smack them straight away and they'd be like, oh, sent home again, have you? Yeah. 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 But my old man was always funny with it. I remember a story when I was young. So I'd been off school for like 2 or 3 days because I was ill. And I come back and on my English book, some boy had written on it, my mum's got a bucket crutch. And back then, it's looking back at it, it's fucking funny, but I was like, I knew the M one, I knew who it was. I wasn't having none of it. So I went and found him after lunch. I gave him a couple of little smacks, got excluded from school. I've come home, told my dad, so the school's already rung him up already and told him what's gone on. So my dad's gone, right, so what happened then? Like, but he was angry. I thought, oh, this is different. He went, so what did the lad say? He said he wrote on my English book, my mum's got a bucket crutch. He's looked at mum and he's gone, well, have you got something you want to fucking tell me then? She's like, what? He went, I want to know how he knows your mum so fucking well. And it was a joke. It was a joke, do you know what I mean? It was just, I was thinking, you fucking... And he just laughed, he thought it was funny, and that was that. And that's the kind of sense of humour my dad had. So, yeah, and it was just, yeah, like, I got into a few scraps in school, nothing major.
So, can't imagine it took very long for this bullying to sort of go away, if you like.
It went on...
kids talk and that you start chatting to a few people. Yeah,
it went on for a couple of years. And then I think, like I said, once you start smacking people just leave you alone. Once they know that you're not going to be, like, you're not going to take it, it does go away. And
how did that, that affect you? That bullying systematically over a few years, constant name calling, that, I'm talking about your confidence in that in your teens, and
it still affects me now.
Yeah,
it still affects me now in different aspects of my life. I mean, it got to a point where I sort of go through stages and I'll grow out of it. Like, for example, one of the things I used to get picked on was all the lads would be wearing Nike shoes, designer, and I'd be wearing Lonsdale and Fila and cheap stuff. And like I said, like, my mum and dad did that. At the end of the day, we had clothes. That was the fucking main thing, do you know what I mean? But yeah, people would take the piss out of me for things like that. So then when as I was getting older, I kind of got through a stage and I started working. I thought, right, no one's ever going to see me in fucking these kind of clothes again. I'm going to be in top designer gear all the time. And then, so I started going through a stage like that. And then you sort of grow out and you realise, why the fuck am I spending all my money just because I'm worried about what someone else thinks?
Yeah, trying to keep up.
Yeah, trying to keep up with so things like that. But even now, like, I will never allow someone to make me feel that way again. So now I've lost several jobs because you know when you get that one boss or that one supervisor that's a bit mouthy, or like he doesn't quite know how to tell you how to do something. He demands it. I've lost a few jobs recently through fighting because I can't take being spoken to like that, and because it triggers what went on as a child. Yeah. So yeah, like I say, it still plays effect on certain things now, really. But it's got to deal with it, you know.
Yeah. Well, Move a little bit on from that. You know, you're starting to chin a few people from school. People who've been giving you shit at school. You know, and rightly so. That's that's how I think it should be dealt with. You know, personally.
Yep.
That's what I teach my kids. You know, but
yeah.
Tell me a little bit. Move on towards after school. You know, your first job, your sort of relationship like with your friends, your social circle.
So when I left school, that's kind of when the fighting side of things got quite bad. Well, not bad, but it got worse. Just before I left school, if I go back, just before I left school, and I was in the last year of school, a friend of mine got beat up by a lad who was 18. We was about 14, 15. This lad was 18, and it was over a fag. Like back in them days, I don't know if it was like that in school, but they used to sell like fags, like 50p a fag.
Of course, yeah.
And they had an argument and they ended up having a fight over a fag. But there was a 4-year age gap. My mate took a pretty good hiding, do you know what I mean? But we was out in the estate later that night, and my mate come out and he was like, I'm going to get him back. And we was like, bruv, you got a good hiding, leave it. He's like, no, I'm going to get him out. He said, I'm going to get him back. And he pulled out a knuckle duster. For fuck's sake, all right. So anyway, we got a phone call about 20 minutes later. The lad that you were looking for is at the end of the road. So they've all gone running up there. And I remember they was all sprinting, and I've never been a runner. I've never been built to run. I was walking. And we got to the end of the road. And as I got to the end of the road, the lad, my mate, was punching this fella. And he was like stumbling over the floor. And you could just hear it going donk, donk, like with this duster. And he had a couple of mates with him, but to be fair, like it was good because it was just the problem was between them. No one else was getting involved. But one of the other lad's friends, his dad come out of his house and started getting a bit leery. So some of the older boys on the estate sort of piped up, and they all they ended up having a little altercation, and it was like three of the older lads against this lad's dad. And I remember it was literally right outside of my nan's house. And these 3 lads were just, all 3 of them, was just eating this geezer, and he was just like covered up like that. And I remember saying, right lads, he's had enough now. And as I tried to sort of pull him away, the dad's just smacked me straight up the head. So I thought, you prick. So I've smacked him, and he sort of slid down the van. And as he's sliding down the van, I've just booted him up the head and knocked him spark out. And then we've just all fucking took legs. But obviously I was in... So if you look at it, I was in my last year of secondary school, and I've just knocked out a lad who's older than his dad. So it was like... my reputation kind of started to slowly build from that. And then there was another altercation at the boxing gym that I went to. A lad that was picking on me before, who I hadn't actually dealt with in school, joined up. And literally within a couple of weeks of him being there, we got put in to spar each other. And he come out and he was just swinging for the fences, trying to take my head off, because he was older and he wanted to try and prove a point, I suppose. And I remember I was being backed up against the ropes for a double jab, and then right hand. And he walked straight onto it and dropped him. And I remember after it happened, I remember we got out of the ring, and he come over to me and he was trying to be all friendly. And I said, I haven't forgot. I said, don't think for a second that I fucking forgot what you used to say to me. I said, no, fuck off. And he just walked off. Didn't see him in that gym ever again. He still boxes now to this day. But I haven't seen him since. And to be fair, I mean, like, I would never go out of my way to cause anyone ag. But at the same time, if any of them tried speaking to me, even now, but no, I ain't interested in you. Do you know what I mean? You didn't think of me back then. I ain't got to fucking think of you now. So, yeah,
it's a fair one, isn't it? You know what I mean? And it's there's nothing more for me heartbreaking when I've had stories of my kids getting bullied at school.
Oh, mate, yeah.
You know, like to the infuriating point where, you know, like I could just easily turn up at some parents' house and start driving someone's dad about purely because of what their kid's doing to my kid. Do you know what I mean? And
and do you know what? For me, growing up as well, is, you know, when kids argue, they're like, yeah, I'll get my dad to beat your dad up. I remember a few kids saying that to me, and I just remember thinking, no, you really don't want to send your dad to my dad. Honestly, like, I just knew from what I'd seen that what my dad was about, and he scared the life out of me. My dad, he didn't mean to, he didn't want to, but he just did. He's a mountain of a man. He was 6'4", built over 20 stone. Yeah, you know what I mean? He was solid, and yeah, the amount of times that people have said that they're going to get your dad to beat my dad up, and then my dad gets a phone call, and it's from the lad's dad, and they're like, Sean, we listen, I don't want no trouble. Like, it's happened a few times. I think I kind of got I got quite a few passes. Yeah, growing up because of my dad, to be honest with you.
I think that, just going back a little bit there, what you mentioned there before, we brushed a little bit on this, me and you, before, that having that fear for your old man, you know,
it's
now,
needed.
You know, a good man, you know what I mean? Good with his kids and good with his family, a good man. But still, you had that fear of him.
Yeah.
I personally, I never had that.
No.
I never had none of that. So I know, I've watched studies and that. I had a real big interest in this stuff for a while. I had a little bit of a fascination with upbringings, you know what I mean, and how it reflected in your later life. And I started watching it, and there's like a study done by a university, and they were saying how the stability, and right down to not just the behaviour but the decision making abilities, like the natural normal thinking, all comes from that. Everything comes from your childhood. You know, not having that. For me personally, I didn't have anybody to fear. You know, I didn't have anybody to instill discipline. I ran rings around my mum, and and you know, it was.
Yeah, that's what I said to you last night as well when we were speaking about this. I said, look, the amount of times me and my brother, we'd run my mum ragged around the house, misbehaving, and then we knew when she'd had enough, when she's like, right, you wait till your dad gets home. And we'd be like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
No, don't tell dad, please don't. Like, and you just knew, like, even if... So, I mean, sometimes she wouldn't. She'd just say it just to shut us up, and then sometimes she would.
Yeah.
And I can remember me and my brother be waiting at the window, checking the curtain and waiting for that old fucking Escort car that he had back in the day. Open the window up and see dad coming up the garden path, and he looks at the window and he goes... And we're like, oh no, he knows. He knows. Mate, honest to God, my dad's face is like, he can go from a nice, pleasant, hey, how you doing, to boom. Like, and it's just, when he looks at you like that, it's like, oh, fucking hell. I think, oh, this is gonna hurt.
Yeah.
But do you know what? He never had to lay hand on us. He didn't have to. His presence and his voice was enough to, like, he'd shout. And honest to God, I remember as a youngster, like 6, 7 years old, my dad would shout at me and I'd piss myself. I'd be that physically scared of him. Yeah. And it's only because of his voice. He never really hit us. I think I can probably count probably about 4 times over the years he's had to give us a little...
And you've well deserved it, no doubt.
Oh, yeah, no, well deserved it, mate. Yeah, I was a little shit as well as my brother was. But what kids ain't, I suppose.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that just that family structure and that it's... reflecting the person, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's just how it is. You know what I mean? It's just how it is. Everything comes from that childhood, and you know, I know just by speaking to you and speaking about your dad, you know, the respect that you've got for your dad, and I just think it's the backbone. Yeah, it's the backbone of a steady childhood. You know what I mean? Having that stability at home, and
it is
that father figure that you've got some fear of. Yeah. You know what I mean? And not only that, you want to impress them as well, and you want to be like them. You know, it's almost like the perfect scenario for a family. Do you know what I mean? And
it also helped as well because it's like I had both my nan and granddad on my dad's side. I had both my nan and granddad on my mum's side, both loving, like grandparents as well. Yeah. Every Christmas we'd go to my nan and granddad's house on my mum's side, spend Christmas Eve and Christmas night there, and then go home Boxing night. And my dad's mum, God rest her, she's no longer with us, but she was a big part of my upbringing as well. I could never do no wrong in her eyes. Yeah. Even though I was, and I knew that I could do things, and she'd just go, "It's all right, babe. Don't worry about it." And the amount of times my dad would go to her, "He's a little shit," she'd go, "No, he ain't. Yeah. Don't you talk about him like that." And I was, and I knew it. Yeah. And I can remember times where like, I'd walk up to the estate, and from where I lived quite a little bit away from the estate. So I was always the one that had that fucking 20, 30-minute walk where everyone else lived on there. But I remember like certain days on the weekend, I'd walk past and there's a pub literally 2 minutes up the road from my house. And my nan would be in there on certain days on the weekend, and I knew it and I knew the times. So I think, I'd walk past, see her car there. All right, Nan's in there, I'll pop in. All right, Nan, she'll be, "Oh, you hungry? Are you hungry? Yeah, yeah, I'm hungry, Nan, yeah. Yeah, so I'll sit down, I'll get myself bacon, cheeseburger, chips. And she'd be like, "Where you going up? Are you going up to the estate?" I said, "Yeah, I'll jump in, I'll give you a lift." That's sweet. So I've got to walk now. And she'd always bung, you know, nans that they're like that.
Yeah.
Bit of money.
Yeah.
Have that. Take that with you.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. I'll get some sweets and that. Yeah. And I knew what I was doing. Do you know what I mean? It's
class.
But she probably knew it as well. So.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, that I think that those kind of things as well, it helps.
Yeah.
With just that loving childhood.
Of course
thing.
it does. And I mean, I spoke about this recently as well. Like, my kids, they get too much. They do get too much.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't hear the word no nowhere near as much as they should.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's my bad. And I know I'm trying for a while now to sort of like realign the structure that we've got, because
it's hard, isn't it?
It is hard, because you know, I'm like my three youngest are all daddy's girls. You know, and it's like it's hard for like being that disciplinarian. You know, like I can sort of. I tell Lily off the other day for leaving the room scruffy. You know what I mean? And like, and she got a face on. Then I'm almost apologising. You know, for telling her off. No, you know, like almost. You know, and it's like it just gets it. It's just how it is, and it's difficult getting that balance. But you know, I think I need to rein it in, mate, because I can see what I'm creating. Yeah, it's like this sense of entitlement almost. You know, like. There's a big wide world out there full of money, you know, like go and make some yourself. You know what I mean? Like, it is what it is.
Yeah,
but
I'm like that with my kids as well. And don't get me wrong, when they're misbehaving, I tell them off. But then they only got, especially more so with my little girl than what I am with my little boy. My little girl will cry and I go, oh, it's all right, come here, give me a cuddle. But with my little boy, I'll be like, what's your own fucking fault? Go on.
Well, listen, I identify with that, you know, and as a parent, you know, I remember thinking a few times, like, how is this right, what I'm doing? Yeah. Questioning yourself morally. You know, like sending your teenage son out one door, saying, go on, son, go on have a blast. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you're like that out to your teenage daughter, you fucking better respect yourself, and I'll come through somebody's front window. Exactly. You know what I mean? And
it is like that as well.
How can you...
But you know as well, I'm starting to get to the stage now where, like, I want my boys to be able to go out, enjoy themselves, be with their friends, and get up to life experiences. You know what I mean? But at the same time, now I think the way things are, I think no, I want them to stay in. I want them to stay in there, because all you hear about is 12, 13, 14-year-old kids getting stabbed. Yeah. And where I live in Gravesend, mate, the last couple of months there's been 3 shootings. 2 of them have been right outside the shops where my kids go to get sweets. And just think, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, it ain't the same. Don't get me wrong. Like, times were bad back growing up when you grew up. Obviously, I'm a different generation, but things like that just didn't go on. Kids could wander out, and they'd be out all hours of the night, and you wouldn't have to be that worried, because things like that just didn't happen. That's it. But now it's changing, and it's, as much as I want my kids to go out and experience all this stuff, at the same time, like, it's fucking. It's hard to find that. Mate, that kind of balance. It
is, and it's terrifying.
It is.
It's absolutely terrifying. You know, like the worries that you go through. You know, my 18-year-old has been on a working order for 6-8 weeks. That was terrifying. You know what I mean? And like you say, that was something I was on about the other day as well. I'm glad this just came up. Now, that like sense of community. Is almost gone completely. Now, I don't mean to cause any divide or separate here, but for London especially, and the surrounding areas, the sense of community in general is nothing like what it is up north.
I can imagine. Do you know what? I've only been here 2 days and I can see that already.
You know, like, people speak to each other up here, mate. Like, you just speak to a stranger in the shop about anything. Everybody says hello to each other. Everybody nods their head. And of course, there's this massive influx of immigrants and foreigners and that is changing things on regards to safety. It's no doubt about it. It's changing things now. Every time I've been down London, I've worked down there, I've lived down there briefly, I've been all over the place down there, to be honest. I don't want to use the word ignorant, but the people are almost like defensive. Yeah, they are. You know, if you ask them if you say hello, or if you ask them for the time, like, I think they think you're trying to rip them off.
Or something. Even if you just like walk past, like, especially in London, you walk past someone, you just look at them, like, you could just be looking at the clothes and think, oh, that's nice, and they're like, what are you fucking looking at? It's like, mate, chill out. Like, but that's what it is down that way, and it ain't the same as what it used to be. It's But yeah, it's. I'm trying to bring that kind of community back a little bit where I live. I mean, I live on on an estate, and we've got our local church there. That's where I go, and me and the missus both go there. And it's a shame to say because no one goes there really. But we'll be lucky if we get 6 people in there on a Sunday. And they're always throwing events on, like little like fucking fairs here and there, and trying to raise money, trying to like throwing on little gatherings, and no one goes to them.
Yeah,
no one can be bothered. And it's like I remember like growing up. The church up the road from my mum and dad's house was rammo all the time. Yeah, kids in and out there all the time. Always things going on. People like up the road where the church was, couldn't find no parking. So people would just be in that church, even if they didn't believe, they'd be there just to get out.
A sense of community.
Yeah, because it's where everyone went.
Yeah,
but like I said, there's no such thing as community, especially down my way. I mean, like I said, up here, I've already seen. I've only been up here a day and a half, and I've already seen the difference.
Yeah. It just is. I've got a lot, you know, it's hard to quite, to put it across the best way I can without starting to discriminate.
Yeah,
it's not an individual thing.
No,
it's a generalisation.
It is,
you know what I mean? I'm not, it's just how it is. You know what I mean? And it's well known, especially the more you travel about, the more you realise it. It's like, you know, it unfortunately, it's just how it is.
Yeah, me and the missus are always talking about moving up this way.
Yeah?
Yeah, she's got family from Durham.
Oh, Durham's lovely.
Yeah, it's quite nice.
Land of the Prince Bishops.
Yeah,
beautiful over there. A lot of history.
Well, I'm always looking at houses and I'm thinking, can't I, shall I, shan't I don't know. But one day maybe, who knows.
Tell me a little bit about your late teens. You got your first found fighting, boxing.
So, like I said, I've always boxed on and off as a kid. I didn't really have the proper mentality for it. I liked it. And then I'd dislike it, and then I'd get back to it, and then I wouldn't. And I just didn't have the determination to do it. My old man was always on me of it. He said, if you're going to do it, you're going to do it fucking properly. You need to be out running before school. And I hated running. To this day, I still hate running. And I'd always argue silly with my dad over it. And it kind of got to the point where my dad was like, right, well, if you're going to do it, you fucking do it by yourself. So I'm not helping you. Yeah, and I boxed on and off for years. Go to the club, go just back and forth all the time. And then I had my first unlicensed fight I had when I was 17. I lost it. I lost my first fight. I was meant to fight someone else from Manchester. He pulled out the night before. The coach had rung up and said, look, we've got someone else. He's only had a couple of fights. He's been out the ring for quite a while and he's got an injury. I was just like, yeah, whatever. Well, anyway, then my old man didn't tell me this at the time. He told me afterwards. I suppose he didn't want to add to the anxiety and the stress of it all, I suppose. But we found out that he'd had quite a fair few fights. Yeah. And my old man found footage of him fighting Sugar Boy Malinga. Yeah. Like years before.
Listen, so I was listening to you saying that, been on the unlicensed game myself, and my ears just picked up. I've been told similar things before myself that sound almost rather exactly like what you've just said to me.
Yeah. Do you know what? And as time's gone on, you sort of hear it, and then the amount of lads that have come up to me said, yeah, I'm fighting so and so. He's had this, he's had that, he's got this, he's got that. I said, yeah, it's bollocks. Don't listen to it. Yeah. I said, I can guarantee the geezer you're fighting's tasty if he wants to be. Yeah, and you got to tell people straight in this game, because that's the thing now where it's come. When I got into unlicensed fighting, it was a big thing. Yeah, it's like, oh, you're an unlicensed boxer, fucking hell. And as time's gone on, it's got to the point where you've got a fucking John up the road who's an accountant all week. He's gone and done an 8-week training camp at a white collar fucking thing, and now he's going to have a fight. And they go and they have a fight, they sell all the tickets, all their mates from work come, really, they all have a good night. And then, but then what happens is you get associated with these people. It's like, oh, I remember someone going to me, you do a bit of boxing, didn't you? I said, yeah. He said, what is it? Is it unlicensed? I said, yeah. He goes, yeah, so-and-so does that. And I go, nah, listen, what so-and-so does and what I do is two different things. Don't ever put me in the same fucking category as him, because we're levels apart, do you know what I mean? But that's what people are like. And I just thought everyone started becoming a boxer. And I just thought, no, I went on. I had 8 unlicensed fights. Yeah. I won 6, lost 2. The 2 that I lost were by decisions. And then I thought, you know what, fuck this, I want to go amateur. Yeah. And I turned amateur about, I think I was about 19 or 20. What
were the wages like in the unlicensed? Couple £100 maybe.
I mean, no, I was getting getting like about 1,500 to £2,000 because I was just pumping out tickets. Yeah, but that's what I mean. But that slowly started to drop, the more people started doing it, and the more shows started popping up, and it was just like no one wanted to go to them anymore.
Was this about 10 years ago-ish?
This, so my first fight was, I was 17, so that was, I'm 28 now, so that was 11 years ago.
Yeah.
And then
That's about right. I ask this because it was about 10 years ago when I was doing it, and I remember the unlicensed scene just sort of taking off. Everyone was having a go, especially over the northeast and up and round here. There was shows all over the place. Every weekend there was a show somewhere.
Yeah.
And it started taking off. More venues started getting bigger.
Yeah.
More people started coming. Before long, you had all the sort of journeymen and pros and that. They all started coming over because they could make more than the unlicensed that they could in the pros.
Yeah.
So there was a point of it 10 years ago or more when it was a really, like EBF and all that. There was a really good pool of fighters, like a lot of journeymen, a lot of ex pros, and a lot of rough lads just off the street as well. But it was that sort of time 10 years ago when it was like rife, wasn't it? The unlicensed, it seemed to be everywhere.
It was, and I even like obviously down in my way, one of the most earlier ones was obviously the governor title at the Caesar Palace with Joey Pyle and all that lot. And I'll get to that in a minute. But my trainer Pete, he basically he fought on those shows, and in Joey Pyle's book, he actually says he kept Pete away from the actual governors because Pete would have just destroyed them all. And those kind of things are, I mean, Pete's got his own story, and he'll be able to tell you what the unlicensed game's like, and you can sell a ticket, you get looked after.
Yeah.
And we know a certain individual that won that title, didn't we? Who got looked after.
Yeah. Oh, it's 100% got looked after.
It's the same thing. It's and that goes on a lot in that game.
Of course it does.
But at the same time, though, you still in the early days, you got proper fights. Might not have been boxing matches, but they were fights.
100 you did, mate.
But now it's fucking, now it's just become a, I mean, you look at all the social media influencers that are doing it now, and it's becoming a bit of a laughing stock, I think.
Yeah, I agree to a certain extent. It's like it's diluting like the purity of what it actually is. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, listen, if you're earning money and you're making loads of money from it, fucking fair play, because it is a shit game when you're not earning money.
Of course it is.
But I think that's kind of what started to what kind of pushed my interest towards the bare knuckle. Because I thought no one around my area was doing. There was two people from Kent that was doing it at the time, and that was Craig Amar and Tony Lafferty. But there was no one from Chatham, where I'm from, that was doing it, so I was the first one. And for me, that in itself was like, yeah, I can say that I'm the only professional bare knuckle fighter in this town. And I'm still to this day the only one, because I'm the only one I think's got the bollocks to do it. There's been a few people that have come forward and said they're going to have a go, got themselves on the posters, got themselves the tickets, and then all of a sudden it's
Listen, I think as well with this, it's not going to be long before the stage we're at now with this bare knuckle in the world, in this country as well. You know, I just think in this country it's just lagging behind just a little bit, promotion-wise, advertising-wise, but I think it will get there before long. And I think these poster-type fighters that you're on about, I know a few of them, you know, they want to be recognised as bare knuckle fighters. You know, they want to be on posters and they want to be, it sounds good for the profile, do you know what I mean? But when it comes down to fighting anybody or anything, anywhere, you know, they start picking and choosing, or they might have to wash their hair, or you know, they are out there, and it's a shame because they're in a mixed and they get matched with decent lads, and they end up fighting decent lads about and that, and it's the sad truth, it happens. But I'm certain that sort of level of people, those types will be eradicated before long. Well,
I think that the beauty of bare knuckle is I mean, with unlicensed boxing and white collar boxing, you can kind of half get through it. You can't half get through. You can't half get through a bare knuckle.
You can skive a bit with a pair of gloves on.
You can't skive in bare knuckle. You will get, if you're not up for it, you will get sussed out in the first exchange.
100.
But it's funny though, because even though I went on to the unlicensed scene, I always knew in my heart that I wanted to have a go at bare knuckle fighting. Obviously, it wasn't. I'm talking back when I was like 13 or 14, because I remember my dad taking me to go watch a straightener between two lads. There was a bit of beef between two blokes, and my old man spoke me up one day. He said, "Come on, I'm taking you out." So where we going? He said, "You'll see when we get there." Got there, and I just remember seeing this crowd of people just standing around on this field. And then I remember seeing one lad get out of a car, running up the road, taking his shirt off, like shaping up as he's running. I think, what the fuck's going on here? And then I've seen the crowd sort of just open up, and I just watched these two lads have a fight. And mate, it was a fucking good fight. And I just looked at my dad like, what is this?
What a feeling.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah, like this was a buzz. And I got this from an early age.
Yeah.
But obviously back then, like, it wasn't quite, like, the bare knuckle scene wasn't as it was nowhere near what it is now.
Yeah.
So it's like,
More in the odd pub and club and car park and that, wasn't it?
It was I kind of got to the point like, who can I have a problem with so I can have a straightener? But yeah, no, it just, obviously I kind of put that to the back burner a little bit. But then yeah, and then obviously once I saw that BKB was getting quite big,
yeah,
then yeah, that's what
that's right, because let's have it right, it's no rival of mine, you know, that BKB, but let's have it right, you know, they're a decent, very decent standard of fighter in that promotion, you know what I mean? There's some really good lads in there.
Very good,
you know
lads.
what I mean? There's some good lads, and I watched that promotion for a while, until BKFC came to these shows.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I still wouldn't watch it now.
No.
You know, if there's a good fight on there, I'll watch it.
Yeah.
You know,
I still do as well, and I won't sit here and slag BKB off or anything like that. I mean, listen, I had a tiny little issue with them towards my last fight, but look, that was all sort of sorted out, and it was all swept under the table kind of thing. But as a show, you can't knock them.
Yeah.
Their shows are quality.
Yeah.
The fighters are quality. And overall, I mean, my missus says it all the time. She said that the atmosphere at that O2 arena when those fights are going on is, you can't knock it. It's such a good place to be. And I won't sit here and slag them off because they don't deserve to be slagged off. They are still
100%.
one of the top.
100% they are. It's like, yeah, that, I don't know I don't know them. I don't know anything about them. I've never met any of them. I spoke to any of them in private.
Yeah.
But I've got to look at them shows and think, you know, some of them are decent shows,
Yeah,
good fights, good roster of fighters. And they've been at it long enough now to be tweaking things and getting it right. And listen, they put a good show on and they've got good fighters.
Yep.
And that's it, you know.
Yeah, they have. They've definitely.
So how did this come about, this bare knuckle? What was it? Did you contact them? Did you get an opponent offered to you or what?
So what happened there was I was actually going to retire from fighting altogether. I got to a point where I wanted to change my life around. I wanted to do something better because I was doing security work on film sets, and don't get me wrong, I enjoyed it at times, but I kind of just looked at it like, this is a one-way ticket. This ain't going any further. I'm looking at 70-year-old blokes pulling up in their cars, still working, still doing what I'm doing now at 20, 21 years old, and I was thinking, nah, I can't do this forever. So I was actually going to I went down to the Army's careers office and I applied to join the Army. So, but they said to me that they took my weight and my height and all that lot, and they said your BMI is too high. You've got to bring your BMI down. It's got to be below 30, which I think is a little bit silly because even though I was boxing all the time and I was still quite fit, but because my weight and my BMI, I mean, to put it this way, Anthony Joshua wouldn't be able to join the Army because of his BMI, even though he's a fucking specimen of an athlete. Yeah, because his BMI would be above 30.
What is your BMI?
It's your body mass index.
Right.
So it doesn't take in muscle mass or anything else. It's just your body weight.
Right.
So you jump on the scales and you work it out how you do it. I can't remember. They've got all the things in that on the internet.
Okay.
You type in your height, your weight, your age, and it gives you your BMI. And if it's above 30, you can't join the British Army.
But what's the percentage of the body mass? Is that your fat percentage or something?
Yeah, I think it's it all together. I think.
Right. Okay.
There's been quite an uproar about how the Army do it, but
yeah, I'm not certain on the criteria, to be honest.
I mean, I think you would be fine.
Yeah.
But bigger lads, even though bigger lads are in shape because they're fucking muscle.
Yeah.
But it won't. It's still, your BMI will still be above 30. It's fucking weird.
So what happened then? You go back.
Yeah. So they said you got to lose weight. I said okay, sweet. I had to lose 6 stone to get my BMI down to 30. I did it in 6 months. I just went out running every day. I was on a protein shake diet, out running every single day, and I was back. I went there in March. I think it was March or April time. I was back in September. And the Army careers officer couldn't believe it. They said, like, how the fuck have you done this? I said, I've just been out running every day. So they was excited for me, to be fair. And I was like, right, okay, right, let's get your medical sorted out. Let's get this sorted out, blah, blah, blah. So then the medical thing happened, and basically I'd been involved in a punch up in a nightclub 3 years before, and I pulled my back out in it. I woke up next day, I couldn't move. And I went to the doctors to see like what was wrong with it. Doctors just said, it's just like a fucking bruise or something or another. It weren't nothing bad. And in the end, I went to an acupuncture. 2 sessions, bang, back was sorted.
Yeah.
But because a back injury is flagged up and it hadn't been over a certain time period, they now wanted me to do a 6 months fitness diary, writing down and jotting down everything fitness-wise that I was doing and writing if I had any injuries or not. I just blagged the whole thing. Even though I was fine, but I tried to appeal it, went to a back specialist and nothing. They still wanted me to do this 6 months fitness diary. So now that's another 6 months. So I'm getting to the point now where it's nearly a year. And in between this time period of where I was doing this fitness diary, I met Mel. And I think we'd been together a couple of months, 2 or 3 months. And then she announced that she was pregnant with Rome. And I was kind of like, I need some money. I'm like, what can I do to get money? And then I was just scrolling through Facebook and I saw BKB looking for fighters. I thought, do you know what, fuck it. Give him a little message, see what the kind of purse was they was offering. And it was like they offered a certain person a certain amount of ticket sales. And I thought, oh no, I'll shift a nice ticket for this. But being bare knuckle as well, I'll definitely do this. So yeah, so that's how it happened. That's how I ended up doing it. When Mel told me she was pregnant, I was like, right, I need some fast money. And where I'd lost all this weight and I was fit and all that lot anyway, I thought, yeah, fuck, I'll be good as gold. And to be fair, when I had my first couple of bare knuckle fights, man, I was in the best shape of my life. I was in top shape. But then at the same time, that's kind of what put me off the army as well, because obviously when my boy was born, I was like, I'm not missing out on anything in his life. It's just I couldn't do it. Yeah. So in the end, I just called the army up and said, right, listen, I'm gonna have to cancel my thing because I've got my little boy on the way. And after I had the first bare knuckle fight, anyway, I was hooked. I thought, oh, I love this.
Everything happens for a reason, man.
Yeah, yeah. This feeling was something else, and
different.
Yeah, it was. It's a
different,
different buzz. It's
when you're all
together.
I think the biggest thing I noticed immediately was just felt different warming up. Felt different walking there.
Yeah, it does.
It feels different looking at your hands.
Yeah.
You know, when we used to always wearing gloves, the little daft things like being able to touch the rope when you're walking through.
Yeah,
being able to take your own gum shield in and out with ease.
Drink your own water.
You know, it's straight. It's different.
It is, and even the training as well. Like I remember going into training camp with Pete, because this is kind of how my friendship with Pete started. We just started to become friends before this point, but before that we didn't like each other. When I was fighting on the unlicensed scene, he was doing his own promotion. I was fighting for someone else who was a rival. Don't get me wrong, we never spoke to each other, but whenever we saw each other in any other places, we were both just like, kind of give each other a little look and avoided each other. And then when I sort of broke away from that promotion and I went amateur, that's when whenever I saw him, I was like, hello mate, how you doing? You all right? I could start having chats with him now. Because I'm a loyal person. I knew they didn't get along, so I just didn't put myself in that situation where I'd get friendly with him. Yeah. And then me and him become fucking really good friends. And I said, look, I want to have a bare knuckle fight. I know you've trained Craig and you've trained with Tony and this and the other. I said, would you train me? He said, yeah, come on in, let's go. So that was it. Straight to the gym with him. And I remember one of our first sessions together, first proper sessions together. I went to put my gloves on. He went, nah. So you can fucking take them off. So what? So yeah, he said, you won't be wearing gloves. He said, the only time you'll be wearing gloves is when we're sparring. So, okay. And yeah, everything, pads, bag work, everything was done bare knuckle because he wanted to condition the hands. Yeah. And that's the thing I see now a lot. You see a lot of bare knuckle fighters training with gloves on. Yeah. And I think, look, if you've got hand injuries, fair enough. But if you haven't, take them off. Because you've got to condition those fucking hands, man.
100%.
You know full well when you get in there, you crack someone hard, your knuckles are gonna hurt.
I've had this conversation a few times with Wayne. For me, it's like my hands are like poppadoms.
Yeah.
At that stage, and I'm nearly 40 years old. Yeah. You know, so it's like I need to protect them in the gym because I don't mind breaking them on someone's face in fight night. You know, because you don't feel it anyway. You know, but if I break them in the gym, that way I can't train properly and I can't be prepared. You know, so
no, that's the difference. But like, because I know there's a lot of people who do have hand injuries and stuff, and then use them then. But if you haven't got no problems with your hands, you should be taking them off.
No, I agree 100%.
And this is the thing I see with a lot of people that want to get into bare knuckle, especially. I mean, there was a lad down my way recently, very good amateur. very good amateur. Wanted to have a bare knuckle fight on Pete's show. Got all the way through with it, got his name on the poster, got the tickets, and then I'm watching videos of him training. He's training with gloves on. I think, mate, like, he's younger than me. So you need to be taking these gloves off. I said, like, your hands are gonna they're gonna break when you hit someone. And then then within a couple of weeks later, he's like, oh no, Pete, I want to have a crack at professional boxing. I don't want to do the bare knuckle now.
Listen, mate, like I say, it's different.
It is.
People, I know pros, I know good pros, I know really good seasoned gloved fighters. They'll never go nowhere near bare knuckle.
It's
you know
different.
what I mean?
It is different.
It's very different. Requires a different mindset, a different type of person.
There's a lot of arrogance, though, from professional boxers I've found, that they're like, no, it's boxing. I can box. I'll be able to get in there and do it. And I think, no, you won't.
Mate, it's different.
Don't get me wrong, some do crack it. They master it, but some don't.
Yeah.
They just forget themselves. It's almost like I've seen some of them forget. It almost looks like they forget how to box.
Listen, I've said this as well before, and I'm glad you've mentioned that before. I think they say the really good boxers, background of boxing, amateur boxing, professional boxing, they don't like shine at top level in the BKFC.
No.
The best lads in the BKFC are your MMA type background lads, you know.
They are.
Because they've got that clinch working that down, because it is a fight. It's not a boxing match, mate.
No,
I don't care what your skills are like. You know, as soon as someone's got hold of your head, you can't do anything of that. Just what you previously knew doesn't really count here.
No, it doesn't.
You know what I mean? It's different. Requires a different type of training. The whole approach is different because of that fighting, not boxing element.
And that's why me and Pete grew so well, because he knew the game.
Yeah.
He knew what was needed. He knew how to train me, and me and him just clicked. And like now, he's family now. Do you know what I mean? He's my godfather. I got christened in January, and he was my sponsor for it. So he was my godfather, and he's the godfather to my little boy as well.
Yeah. And how important is that, being close to your coach and that,
mate,
like that?
It's. Do you know what, the amount of times, because he just knows me as a. Listen, you can be a very good trainer and you can get someone in physical shape, but sometimes being a trainer and a coach is more. You've got to be able to suss your fighter's mind.
100.
And there'll be times I walk into the gym, I'll put my bag down, and you go, "You all right?" And I go, "Oh, you all right, Pete?" He'd be like, "What's up?" And we'll spend the first 10 minutes sitting on the end of the ring talking about life or problems I've got or issues that may be occurring and whatnot may be occurring. And he'll be like, obviously, if we've got a fight coming up, he will push me through to train. But if not, sometimes he'll be like, "Right, should we just have a cup of tea and chill?" So you don't need to be training today. Your head's not in it.
Well, that's a brilliant coach.
And mate, I owe Pete my career. I wouldn't be where I am now without him, and I wouldn't want to progress without him either.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He's put so much time and effort into me.
Yeah.
And he hasn't charged me a penny for it.
Brilliant.
I just couldn't leave him.
Listen, I relate to that big time. Same with my coach. My coach coached me for years in the unlicensed.
Yeah.
And always got on with him, always loved him, always admired him and thought the fellow was cushy.
Yeah.
Now, I went to him when I started this bare knuckle journey and said, "Listen, if you can't train me, I'm not going to do it."
Yeah.
I said, "I ain't going with anybody else. I'm just not going to do it."
Yeah.
And he said, "Yeah, let's do it." He's given me enough time, as much time as I need. And I think just listening to you there, telling you the respect you've got for your coach, reminds me of the respect I've got for my coach. And I think it's a kind of not difficult. Can imagine it coming naturally to a coach, my coach and your coach, towards me and towards you. Yeah. But I think what's essential in a good coach, it's a funny one because of course they have to be the boss.
Yeah, they have.
They have to be the boss.
Yeah.
When they say jump, you have to be in midair asking if it's high enough. But also as well, they've got to have that level of concern where they're looking out for your best interest, of course, but not only that, they're picking up on stuff to help you that you can't even pick up on yourself.
Yeah.
Like, is that what you've said?
Yeah.
I like that because I've turned up at Wayne's before, I've had 5 minutes and he's like, "Come on, have a crack, have a talk," and he's like, "Go home."
Yeah.
Tomorrow's another day.
Yeah.
Today's not the day to train.
Exactly the same.
You know, instead of just getting you down there to beast the worst out of you, they're like, "Listen," you know, and it's getting that balance. I think it's a brilliant. I think it's super essential.
It is, and the thing is as well, like I'm the only bare knuckle fighter that Pete trains, but he has got a very, very good stable of fighters around him, and they all say the same thing. Like don't get me wrong, I always say this about him. I always say he's the nicest, moodiest man you'll ever meet. He is fucking mate, he's good as gold. He's got art made of gold, but you don't do what he asks you to do. You turn up late, you fuck a bat, he will tell you and he will rip into you. And as a fighter, you need that.
Yeah, of course.
You need that discipline.
And rightly so.
And I've seen lads try and sort of half argue back with him, and he's like, "Get your shit, fuck off." And it's like, mate, listen, you want to train with Pete, because Pete's got a reputation of there's a reason why we're all called the Stoughton Spartans. That's where my nickname come from, the Spartan.
Right.
And mate, he beats us.
Yeah.
If I've been away from the gym for a certain amount of time, because I'm very one of them, like I was telling you before about the ticking over.
Yeah.
Whereas I have to sort of go back to work and I don't really get a chance to tick over as much as I'd like, and I come back and I'm fucking out of shape.
Yeah.
Mate, we don't even touch a boxing bag.
Yeah.
Until he gets my fitness to a certain level where I can start throwing punches without being out of breath. And it's just pure hill sprints, fucking cardio, circuits, horrible stuff.
Yeah.
And he does it, and he always says to me every time, he's like, "Jack, are you going to train after this fight? Are you going to carry on training?" I go, yeah, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
And I come back, he goes, "You haven't trained, have you?" No. He's like, "Right, you know the crack. The first 4 weeks are going to be pure beasting," and it is, mate, and it's fucking horrible. But in the day, I know why he's doing it. Even there's times I walk away from the gym, I feel, for fuck's sake, I'm getting bored of this. But then once it all starts falling together, and you realise why he's doing it, mate, I could honestly, I couldn't ask for anyone better.
Yeah,
it's just me and him. You match well.
Of course,
and that's all I can ask for. Really.
You can't beat that feeling either, as well, where, like you say at the start, you're a bit all over the place. It's a bit of a clusterfuck. When you start in camp and you've been on your ass, your diet's not right. Yeah. You go with the training, you're thinking you're behind, your timing's taking forever to come back, and all of a sudden with the consistency, all this stuff just starts to align. Yeah. It all just starts piecing together, and you're like, you and your coach are doing this between you, this thing that you're getting better, you're making progress, and it's a brilliant feeling. And I've said this as well before, when I go out there and fight, obviously I'm fighting. My coach has fought for years, you know what I mean? But I'm fighting and I'm number one. But they call me second for a reason. I'm doing it. I want Keane to get out there and show him what we've been doing in the gym. I'm doing it for him as well. You know what I mean?
So Pete says about it as well. When we had my first bare knuckle fight, in the first round of that first bare knuckle fight, I took a bit of a pasting. The lad I fought, that Shannon Rich, the American, he come out with he threw everything but the stool that we sit on at me, and he was throwing massive overhand rights, hitting me clean across the nose. He busted my nose in the first round. Both my eyes were starting to swell up, nose pouring out of blood. And I went back to the corner. Pete, as calm as you like, goes, "You all right?" I said, "Yeah, I'm sweet." He goes, "Good." He said, "We ain't going to let that happen again next round, are we?" As calm as you like. I said, "No." I said, "Don't worry." I said, I've got it sussed." It's just that first initial, my first ever bare knuckle fight, and I wasn't expecting it. I don't know what I was expecting, but I just wasn't. I was expecting more precision kind of style of fighting. Nah, it's a fight. Yeah. And then I went out in the second round, knocked him out. And then Pete always says, he says, "You showed me," because that was our first fight together. He says, "You showed me what you're about in that first fight. You come back in that corner, busted up, bad." He said, "And you went out in that second round and finished the job." He said, "So I've seen, as a trainer, I've seen what I need to see in my fighter. I know what you're capable of and what you're not." And he said that was a big turning point for him, where he's like, "Right, yeah, we've got this now." But even now with training and stuff, he can't train me every day. Obviously, he works. He does his other PTs and stuff like that. And I mean, when we've got a fight coming up, we're probably, I'm in the gym with him 3 to 4 times a week max. But that's all you need with him. Don't get me wrong, he's always like, "Right, Jack, you need to make sure you're out running. Make sure you're doing your weights." Because we've got a...
Well, you've got to do all your own stuff on top.
Yeah.
3 or 4 times a week with a coach is plenty.
Yeah. And that's what he's drumming it into me. You've got to be off doing your own stuff, not just what we're doing in here. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. And he makes sure, he tells me what I've got to do. And he's like, even sparring, he goes, "If you want to go off and get sparring at other places on days that I can't," he said, "go and do it." He said, "It's making you better." He said, "Just come back and let me know how it went and talk me through it." So I'll keep him in the loop kind of thing. Yeah. But it is so important to have that kind of relationship with a trainer, because if you don't,
absolutely,
you ain't going to progress.
No, absolutely.
You ain't going to progress.
It's like that you've got to have that respect for them, where you not only trust them in what they're saying to them, but you want to impress them as well.
Yeah, you do.
You know
yeah,
what I mean?
You do, definitely. And it's a massive part of a fighter's life, the coach.
Your the fight you had, your BKFC debut, probably the one that the majority of people from this sort of sector of YouTube have seen.
Yep.
You know, we spoke a bit about it last night, you know, and you know what happened that night, mate, you know.
So, I mean, to be fair, training was spot on for that fight. I mean, look, my weight, I was supposed to be fighting someone who was around my weight. So, and for me being me, at the same time, it's woke me up, but my last two previous fights, I got away with being bigger than what I should have been. I've just gone in and I've just knocked someone out straight away for, yeah, I'm sweet. And I was going into this fight with that same mentality because I was fighting a lad who was kind of on the same sort of weight as me. So I was like, yeah, I don't need to lose weight. Why do you want to put yourself through the stress of dieting when you've got the stress of training? Because, you know, dieting, for me, it's one of the most worst things ever. I don't go out drinking or anything like that. For me, a night out is, let's order a takeaway and sit indoors and watch a film.
Yeah.
So I was going through camp with that mentality. We're still training hard, still out running, still doing everything that we do. And then I went out for a jog one night and I rolled my ankle. And I had my headphones on and I heard it popped twice. And I heard it through my headphones with my music player. And I remember just dropping straight to the floor. And I was thinking, fuck, I'm in trouble now. And this was a good 6 weeks before the fight. This is where training's supposed to start picking up a bit now. More than what it is. Because we kind of do like a pre-fight camp to get myself back in shape. And then we spend 8 weeks blitzing it. So I managed to limp back home. I got in, I laid on the sofa, I pulled my sock off, and it was just black. My whole ankle was black with bruising. I've called Pete up and told him what's happened. He said, come into the gym in the morning, we'll have a look. So basically, running went out the window, hill sprints went out the window, certain things we do in circuits, the box jumps, fucking tuck jumps, everything else was out the window. Even certain things in sparring I couldn't do, because I just didn't want to roll it again. It was so weak. So the whole training camp was wasn't what we needed going into that sort of fight. But at the end of the day, I needed money. I'd got myself in a little bit of a debt situation and I needed to pay it off. So I was like, I've got to do this fight regardless. And then on top of all that, we've got the ball ache of this opponent's pulled out. We've got you this person. So, okay, have a look. Yeah, sweet, no worries. 2 weeks later, that person's pulled out. We've got you this person. 6 fucking times it happened. Yeah. And then they got in Robbie Kennedy 4 days before, who was probably the best fighter out of all of them. And even my trainer said to me, he looked at him and I sent him the video and Pete knew that I had to do the fight. So he was like, yeah, all right, mate, sweet. But he said to me afterwards, he said, Jack, he said, I didn't want to tell you, he said, but that fight was all wrong for us. He said, and he was not, he said, you needed to be more prepared. 100%. For that kind of fighter.
That was the type of fighter what I seen. I was there in person, and I think doesn't matter who, he's going to give anyone problems on his night.
That style of fighting, mate, was just something I've never seen before. And
big, unorthodox, gangly, switch hitting lad with power. Very athletic. It's a nightmare, mate.
It was, and Pete saw that, but Pete also knew that I needed to do the fight, so we just went through with it, and I mean, the actual fight itself, a lot of people have been saying that I was gassing out and this and that, and like I felt all right. Don't get me wrong, I felt a little bit more sluggish than what I normally am, and that is purely because of the weight. So that's what I mean. It's woke me up now to. I realised that I can't get away fighting at this level. Being at that weight, because it is just so hard on your body. I've got to drop down at least. I've got to at least get to about 17 stone, 17 and a half stone now, and that's my plan to get down to that sort of weight and fight at that weight. But the actual fight against Robbie itself, it wasn't. I didn't think it was going too bad. I mean, if you watch it back, any time that I was letting shots go and I was like sort of half landing, I was sending him across the ring. The power was just different. He didn't want to stand and trade with me. But he cut me in the first I think like the first 3 or 4 punches he threw, he caught me with a jab in the eye, split my eye open. It's the first time I've ever been cut across the eyes. So the blood was just running straight into my eye. And my vision was getting a bit blurry. So I had to kind of be a little bit more cagey in that first round. So I'd have spent the rest of the round kind of just parrying his shots, trying to avoid him a little bit, because I knew, right, I could get back to the corner, get my eye fixed up, come out again in the second round. And that's what I did. But obviously I got back to the corner. I got the cut man working on my eye. And I got Pete going, Jack, why ain't you doing this? Why ain't you doing that? And I'm not saying anything because I can't tell him that I can't see because the fucking doctor's standing right there looking at my eye. So when he finished with my eye, if you watch the fight back, you see it, I whisper in Pete's ear and I go, I can't see. He goes, oh, fuck. He goes, all right. He says, but you can now. I said, yeah, I'm sweet. Then I go out in the second round and the same thing. I'm sort of half trying to put it on him a little bit and I did. I caught him with a good shot and you see his legs go. I thought, I've got you now. I thought, I want to finish it. Tried to finish it and then out of nowhere, that fucking uppercut, mate.
Yeah.
Listen, I can't take nothing away from Robbie because what a shot.
Oh, what a punch, mate. Would have knocked the bullock over.
Yeah, mate, it was a fucking shot and a half. And yeah, I remember it. I remember feeling the thud of it land and then I switched off after that and I woke up. Like it was like a split second I sort of was asleep. And then I remember looking down and I've seen my hands on the canvas and I'm like, fuck, that ain't supposed to happen.
Yeah.
And I thought, right, I got to get up. And I'm trying to shift my legs and they just weren't moving, man. They was just numb.
Yeah.
And I remember shaking my head in disbelief. But the thing is, I said, I look back at that video and you see me shaking my head and it looks like I'm saying I don't want it no more. It's like, it's not. It's just that was the first time I've ever been dropped. Yeah. And I just couldn't believe it. I was gutted in myself. So that's how my debut on BKFC went. But yeah. Listen, at the same time, it's a learning curve as well.
Of course it is, mate. 100%. We live and we learn. And,
exactly.
You know, you're young enough. Yeah. You got time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got time. You can make all this right.
Yeah, that's it. And I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still having the same fucking problems with fights pulling out and shows not happening. And so it's kind of hard for me, as you know as well, you said yourself about it's hard to train for a fight and if you don't know if it's going to happen or not.
100%.
Because like I said, I don't spend my life in the gym. Even ticking over is not training for a fight, is it?
No, it isn't.
There's a difference between keeping yourself in good shape to fight training.
100%.
You can't constantly keep doing fight training. It's just, it takes a toll on your body. And
nobody can do it, you know, nobody can be in a constant camp.
Nah.
Because it's just too rigorous. Your body physically can't take it.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I done them 3 camps I done back to back.
Yeah.
I mean, I needed some time off, and I'm not talking about 2 or 3 days. I needed like 3 months. I was just eating pure cake, doing everything I shouldn't be doing, and I loved it. Yeah, and it didn't take long before I needed that lifestyle back. But to tick over and to stay like a base fitness, I think is extremely wise.
Yeah, it's important
so that when you do go into camp, you've got 8-9 weeks to ship shape, and you're not just concentrating on either losing the weight or changing the diet or you know, building the cardio up to a point where you can even start proper training. Yeah, you know, so
that is important. And to be fair, that's the one thing that I haven't really been doing. Yeah, but now that I'm telling you that now that my work situation's changed, I can plan training sessions around my work and a lot easier now, and now should be the time for me to start. Right, this is for me to forget about what happened back in March. Let's focus on the future. Yeah, next fight is probably going to be around about March again next year, and it for BKFC down my way. So fingers crossed, I'll make a statement in that one. Yeah, but
yes, bro,
just got to have to wait and see. So now I'm very like, I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I'm very like, what's the word? Cautious. Yeah. Of committing.
Yeah, well, rightly so. You've had 5 opponents.
Yeah,
pull
mate.
out
The last 2 years, I've had every single fight apart from that one pull out. I mean, we had the situation with fucking what's his face. Yeah. No, but I had 2 fights previously before that pull out. I was supposed to fight the year that I called Decker out. In the March, I was meant to fight on Pete's show. Opponent pulled out, couldn't get another opponent in. Then BKFC happened. It was supposed to happen, I think, in June or July, that first one at Wembley.
Yeah.
But it got moved to August.
That's right.
Couldn't do it because I don't think Pete could make the date.
Okay.
And I wasn't doing it without him. And then it was, so when we found out that got cancelled, Pete had a show in September. He's like, Jack, just jump on that. Just keep yourself busy.
Yeah.
So, all right, sweet. So I jumped on that. Same thing. Opponent pulled out. And then obviously I called Decker out. We was going to fight in November. Everyone knows what happened with that fucking situation.
We'll get onto that in a minute.
Yeah, yeah. So that didn't happen. And then it was like, right, the BKFC happened. Then I had that fight in March. Got fucking knocked out. Weren't exactly my plans, but... And then every fight that I was supposed to have after that, this year, has been cancelled. So it's just...
Yeah, I don't think people who aren't fighters, maybe can't... I know fighters will be able to appreciate the level of frustration that sets in when you've geared weeks and months around your life about fighting this particular opponent on this particular date, and then whatever happens for whatever reason, the fight can't be made. It's extremely annoying and frustrating. To the point where that spills out into the rest of your life.
It does,
I find myself being ratty and nasty with people because my own shit that I've been served.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, it's how it is.
I will give BKFC the benefit of the doubt though, because when I spoke to Andy, I said, mate, look, I've got to earn money. I said, I can't keep doing this. I work part-time now so I can train full-time. And if I was fighting and earning money, it'd be all right. But like, we've been struggling a lot recently, do you know what I mean? Like, bad. And he just said, look, Jack, if you've got to go off and fight on other shows, so as long as it's not a main rival, like BKB or BYB or someone like that. He said,
and that's fair, and rightly so.
And I mean, like, fucking fair play to him for saying that, because they could just turn around and go, no, you're contracted to us. Yeah,
they could do, but fair play to him, like you say. I mean, it's just that's your trade. You should be able to go and spin a few quid somewhere else while they can't pay you.
Exactly. So I've been in talks. I've been in talks with a few people. 3D Fight Club. They chat to them. They asked me about fighting their lad in their heavyweight champion in December. Yeah. And to be fair, I half looked at it, I thought, you know what, fuck it, why not? But same problem with that is it's in Manchester. Want me to sell tickets. And I had a chat with my sponsors, because my sponsors, they would have straight away, they would have had like 4 or 5 tables off me, but they can't make it. Yeah. So straight away, that's a big chunk of my ticket sales gone. I thought, this ain't gonna work. So yeah, I mean, I've got something lined up on the 11th of November. On Bill Basham Promotions, which is Dale Brennan Hyde's thing. It's not a proper show. It's just a couple of fights he's put together in this little gladiator pit thing in Yorkshire, and it's proper old fashioned type thing. It looks the bollocks, mate. To be fair, that's on the 11th of November. I'm fighting Ben Waddington, so I'm looking forward to that. I think that's 6 weeks. I think I've got to that one. So. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. Yeah. And then after that, I think it will be a case of me, just keeping myself in the gym, working, grafting, losing weight, and getting ready for the next BKFC thing. Yeah. So. A good plan, that, mate. Yeah. We'll touch on this. First time I came across you on this, we'll call it this sector of YouTube. You were supposed to be fighting someone who had, who I mean. I won't mention. The king of false promises and exaggerated claims, and that's how I first came about, yourself. Yeah. This fight was meant to be happening, So talk us through a little bit of that. What sort of happened there? How did your involvement come in, and so to be honest,
how did this fight get made?
My interest in Decker started years previous. Obviously, watched that Vice documentary that came out on YouTube with Jim McCrory and all them lot, and obviously Decker was in that. Then I saw that Decker's book came out, and it was, like I said, it's funny because down south, everyone knows Decker as this bare knuckle fighter that hasn't been beaten. No one knows about all this shit on YouTube, and I didn't know about it either. I didn't have a fucking clue about any of it.
Because you got a bit of shit, didn't you?
Yeah, mate, yeah. I copped it big time for this, but so I'm looking at it like I remember back then, thinking to myself, one day when I get involved, I'm going to get involved in bare knuckle and I'm going to fight him and I'm going to beat him. And yeah, so the reason why I called Decker out was purely because my fights were falling through. I seen that Decker had just beaten Dean Lynch Ward, and obviously you and him had the fight. I think was it November?
Yes,
December time. Yeah,
about.
So I seen that he'd had 2 fights. I thought, right, he must be back again then. So I thought, do you know what? I remember calling my mate up at the time and I said, look, do you fancy backing me on a bit of money here? He said, what do you mean? I said, I'm going to call Decker out. I said, I didn't have the money to put up. I called my mate up. I said, look, do you fancy putting up a few grand? I said, winner take all. I said, I'll give you half of the thing. He's like, yeah. He said, fuck it. He said, I'll be well up for that. Because he's in the fight game anyway and he's got a bit of dough. So, yeah, so that was when I... So, with the initial call out, that was how I wanted to do it. I wanted to do a winner take all thing and I called him out. And at first, I was getting the, who the fuck are you? Calling Decker out. Who do you think you are? Blah, 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 this and the other. And even Decker himself sort of half tried to pie it off. And I messaged him privately. I said, look, mate, I said, I'm not putting no pressure on you. He said, listen, the offer's there if you want to take it. If not, don't worry about it. And then he messaged me back and said, no. He said, it's an interesting fight for me. He said, I'll think about it, blah, blah, blah. And then, yeah, and then the videos started coming back from him about accepting to fight me and then the messages back and forth between me and him. And then, yeah, and then I started looking at the comments and stuff on YouTube. And a lot of people were wondering who the fuck I was. So I started putting up clips of me training, of my fights and all these other bits and pieces. And then, yeah, that's kind of how the channel grew. So if Decker wants to take claim of, yeah, he doesn't have a channel because of me, fair play.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how that all grew and come about. But going on with the fight, and when I started to realise that there was more to Decker than meets the eye, it was still hard for me to believe because every single morning, he was getting up at like 4, half 4 in the morning and he was sending me a text and he'd be telling me about the newest video that someone's put up about him. And he'd be telling me his side of the story and why it's a lie and I believed it. I believed every single bit of it. I thought, why would he lie? I mean, I didn't have a fucking... I've still to this day, I've never met the man. But I thought, why would he lie? And then when I'm seeing all these things that people were putting up about him, I'm like... This is a bit far-fetched, surely. Like, surely this stuff hasn't happened. But then the more you look into it and the more I started seeing things come out, I think, fuck me, everyone can't be wrong, surely. It can't be him that's right about everything and everyone else is wrong. But the difference between me and everyone else, as I said to you, just because I believe certain things, I don't feel the need to... make videos cutting people off on there, do you know what I mean? Like a lot of people have done.
Yeah.
And I'm very much like if I had something to say to him, I'd be on his doorstep saying it.
Yeah.
So as far as do I believe in certain things about him now? Yeah. Yeah, I believe I've seen enough evidence to prove what he is and what he's about. Do I want anything to do with him? No. Would I fight him? Yes, but the problem with that is, like I said to you, if wanting to fight someone, he's going to want money for it, as well as I want money for it, and I don't want to put money in his pocket. So I think the only way a fight would ever happen is if a few words were said, and it'll be a case of I'll turn up and
100%,
it'll be on the spot sort of thing. But
like a proper fighting man. No. You know, not like a proper fighting man who would go and meet anyone anywhere for a fight because it's just not like he's a showman. Yeah. You know, and he needs this...
He's got to have all of his...
Got to have all this build-up and all this rubbish and milk it for everything he's worth type character.
And then there was the thing of how the fight got... Because everyone thinks that I pulled out of the fight. But what happened was he ended up in hospital with a sepsis infection in his leg and he told me that he banged his leg on a weight bar in the gym. But to get a sepsis infection, it's got to be through like a wound or an open cut or some sort of...
100%. It's got to
and there was no wound or anything there by his fire. And that's when the things started coming out. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say, yeah, it must be true or whatever, because I'm not about that. But everyone was saying that he was injecting roids in his fire. And after speaking with a few people, that is a commonplace, apparently, to inject roids.
Right.
And if you look at the size of him, I mean, he went from how he looked when he fought Dean to how he was when he was getting ready to fight me, and he was bigger. He was a lot bigger. So, was he on him or not? I don't know. Probably, but that's what happened. He ended up in hospital with a leg infection, and then he was putting videos up of him in the hospital talking about what's going on, this, that, and the other, and I'm sending him messages like, do you know what? It wasn't even about the fight. It's just, are you all right? Is everything okay? But nothing. Weren't getting no messages back. if anything, I think he actually blocked my number. So I tried ringing him a couple of times and my phone just weren't answering. None of the messages were going through. And in the end, I thought, you know what? This ain't happening. And we did that thing, didn't we, where the sponsors could sponsor us and they could come and watch it live. So I had all that money put away. And I was putting it away for my kids' Christmas. I didn't spend none of it. So now I've called up all my sponsors and said, look, I don't think this fight's going to go ahead. He's in hospital at the minute and I've not heard nothing back from him and this, that and the other. And I said, do you want your money back? And they said, no. They said, we'll just sponsor you for your next fight when you fight on BKFC, all of them. So now I was for fucking result because all that money was for my kids' Christmas. So yeah, and then in the end, I just put the video up. I didn't even speak to Decker at this point. I just put the video out there and I just said, look, the fight's off, blah, 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 this, that and the other. And the thing was, he was talking that it was going to take weeks for him to even start recovering again. And I'm like, look, I'm supposed to be fighting at BKFC in March. And we're in early December now. I said, I'm not fighting you in fucking January or February and then going on fighting on BKFC. This ain't going to happen. So I just made the decision to go, right, well, the fight's off then. And yeah, and that was that. And then there was the... after I put that video up, Decker then put a video up literally, I think a day or two after, saying, yeah, he's spoken with me and we've agreed to put the fight off. And I was like, I just looked at Mel and I was like, spoken to me? I ain't no fucking nothing from him.
Not like him to bend the truth.
No, well, yeah, that's it. So, yeah, so I left it. And to be fair, after that, it was kind of, I left it. I wasn't going to have nothing more to do with it and this, that and the other. And then there was a couple of videos that he put up about me saying he was disappointed in me and I think it was because I wished you luck for something or another. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, no, I think it was your fight.
Right.
So I put up, I think, oh, good luck to you, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, really disappointed in Jack. He knows what Danny's done to me over the years. And I looked at the video and laughed. I didn't reply back to it because I said I'm not getting involved in this back and forth shit. Didn't put a video back about it. I just laughed and thought whatever. And then we'll get on to this thing about the 250 quid that he gave me. Yeah, he gave me 250 quid for my kids' Christmas. He, like I said, he was messaging me every day and he was asking how things were in life. And I was honest. I said, look, I'm struggling at the minute. I wasn't expecting him I wasn't doing it to ask for money. I was generally telling the truth. And he goes, look, he says, I'll give you 250 quid to put that towards your kids' Christmas. And the missus was like, no, don't take it. And I was kind of... it's embarrassing to say, but I was kind of like, babe, we need the money. Like, that 250 quid fucking helped.
God bless you.
And so I took it. And he said to me that, he said, look, Jace, don't tell anyone that I've given you this money. We'll keep it between us. And I was like, yeah, sweet. And then as soon as all the fight got cancelled and everything else, he was straight on YouTube. I gave Jack 250 quid for his kids at Christmas and he does this to me and blah, blah, blah. And I said, and to this day, this is the only time now I've addressed this. I didn't put nothing up about it because he told me not to say nothing. Even though he's telling everyone himself. It's like, look, why do I need to address my personal problems? Like, you've given me money. I thought you was giving me money out of the kindness of your heart at the time. And I realised that weren't the case. He was doing it to, yeah, look what I did. Yeah, it's like you know, like the people give money to beggars. And, oh, yeah, look. Yeah. There's a bit of money there, mate. Camera in the face. Like, it's the same sort of thing.
Listen, I've said it before. You really want to help someone, you keep it private.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? You keep it private. No, you know, that's how it is.
But even then, though, even after all that, so now it kind of like, it all quietened down with Decker and after that, and then I sort of had the BKFC fight. But at that point, I still didn't dislike the man because I still believed a lot of the shit that was going on about him was a lie. So every now and then it'd be like, oh, how you doing, mate? You all right? Yeah, blah, blah, blah. Like little back and forth here and there. And it's only been, I'd say the past 4 or 5 months, it's all just clicked. And I've realised. And like I said, now it's just, I don't need to say anything bad, but I don't need to say anything at all to him now either, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's I mean, me and you've spoken in private, anyone spoke, but you know, just just to set the record straight here, you know, and I know you'll confirm, you know, I've never once in private tried to convince you of anything or tried to, you know, suggest that he is or isn't anything, you know, and all I would say to yourself, which is, you know, pennies dropped, and probably all I would say to anybody else is just use your eyes and your ears, you know, and make up your own opinion, because it's all there. It's not even like you have to join up the dots. No, you just got to use your eyes and your ears, and it'll become very apparent.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the reason why me and you started talking is because we're both fighting the same promotion. Yeah. It was nothing to do with Decker.
Exactly.
That's why I wished you luck on the thing, because you was fighting on BKFC.
Exactly, bro.
So yes, but in his mind, you can guarantee that we've been sitting here all day thinking of ways to...
No problem, you know. Do you know what I mean? I can only imagine the conspiracy theories, you know, and we're all in it together and that and stuff.
But yeah, it's, mate, you know what, I've never experienced anything like it in my life, and I don't think I ever will experience anything like that I've gone through with him.
Chances are you won't, as an individually sort of, you know, very strange and deranged individual, to the point of the type you probably never come across again. Yeah. You know, and I'll close that, what I'm saying on this, you know, like, you know, you get these type, like, bullshitters. Yeah. You get bullshitters, don't you? They're everywhere. Yep. They're trying to, you know, and they don't let the truth get in the way of a good yarn, and, you know, they'll spin you a tale on anything. And I think those people, they kind of get, I can imagine it must be like almost an empowering, some kind of satisfying feeling, knowing that you've led someone down the garden path, or you've had this person believe that say something that isn't true, you know, and you've kind of pulled the wool, or you've convinced them of something. It must be, there must be something in it for them. Now, all these bullshitters all over the place, all on YouTube and all that and everything, they have to stand back in awe of this king gobshite. Yeah. You know, who's like unrivaled when it comes to telling consecutive lies. Yeah. You know, and
you know what, mate, I thought I was a very, very good judge of character. But fuck me. Was the wall pulled over my eyes in that situation. Like I said, I won't sit here and say he's this, he's that, and don't need to. But yeah, the wall was pulled over my eyes badly, and not just me, but my missus, other people as well that was sort of like following what was going on. They, other like my friends and that ringing me up like, "Nah, Jack, this can't be true, surely." And like I said at the time, I was like, "Yeah, no, I don't think it is. I think it's lies." But yeah, like I said, it all eventually clicked. And you just realise that, fuck me, you've just had, and it's hard to admit that you've had the wall pulled over your eyes that badly, but fuck me, yeah, it's just, well, yeah, it won't be happening again, let's put it that way.
Yeah, well, listen, fuck him.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah, moving on, bro.
Listen, so what about moving forward with this, the BKFC, and on about, you know, we're on about this growing, and we're on about this boom in the market where, you know, we're going to catch up with these Yanks before long in this country. We've got the people for it, we've got the fighters for it, we've got the venues for it, you know, we've got the fans and the following for it. You know, you want to be a part of this as it's getting off the ground.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
is it the brand, the BKFC brand, that attracts you, or is it simply a business for you? You know, if you could spin a few quid elsewhere, you know, you would go elsewhere, and that's it.
I mean, I think money wise, I think the BKFC is the place to be. Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I'm still early doors in the BKFC. Yeah, so I understand that. I'm not a fool to think that just because I'm fighting for the BKFC, I should be earning top dollar. You got to earn your way to that thing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, especially now after coming off a loss. Yeah. But yeah, no, I believe to make a career, BKFC is the way forward. It's me being so young, being 28 years old as well. It's, for me, I think staying with them is the right move. But I mean, as far as what I want to achieve, don't get me wrong, everyone wants to achieve gold, and everyone wants to be the world champion, this and the other, but it's not something at the minute I'm chasing. I'm chasing just to be a good fighter in England, one of the best in England. I mean, I growing up, like my boy being able to say my dad's one of the best bare knuckle fighters in England. For me, that's enough. Yeah. But everything else that comes with it, I'll take. And I mean, I've put up polls and stuff on my YouTube channel and this, that and the other, and said, like, who do you want to see me fight next? And a lot of people are like, look, fight Mick Terrell, fight someone. I'm like, listen, there's a ranking system for a reason. He's at the top of the fucking division. I am, just had my first fight with BKFC, and I lost. Yeah. My name, I should, like, the respect that I have for people, I shouldn't even mention my name and Mick Tyrrell's name in the same sentence.
I hear what you're saying.
Even though I believe I can fully fit, I believe in what I can do. But at the same sort of time, at the minute, it's like, look, I've been beat.
Yeah.
Let me get back on the horse.
Yeah, fair play.
Let me get a few wins.
Yeah, fair play. To you.
Even if just two or three wins, and then we can start talking about these kind of fights. But at the minute, let me just get back to winning ways.
Yeah.
Let me sort myself out. And that's the way I am. Do you know what I mean? It's just I have respect for people, especially people that have earned their way to where they are. I mean, Mick Tyrrell's he's fought a lot of top names over the time and the years, and that he's been on BKB and he's beaten some very good people, and he deserves to be where he is. Yeah. I mean, his fight against Arnold Adams. I mean, all right, he lost, but he showed that he was more than capable of finishing that job.
100. If
he was 100%. So, in my eyes, he deserves he deserves that strap. Yeah. And someone like me to come in and start calling them out, I think it's very disrespectful.
Making noise and that. Fair play to you.
So
fair play to you, mate. You know, I respect that.
But yeah, eventually, I will obviously want to knock on that door. But just at the time, as it is at the minute, I've got to get back to winning first. Yeah. So.
The YouTube channel, what you thinking about content for the future, direction you're sort of thinking about going? I know you swerved the drama, but I must admit I did like a lot of them challenges and that the missus done. There were good frisk them, it was something different. You know, I did enjoy watching them.
I mean, the channels come obviously off of calling Decker out, innit? That's what built it. But
do you want to give him a thank you for that?
Nah. Nah.
Yeah, me neither. Go on, crack on.
He can suck a wet fart. But at the same time, me and the missus was actually planning on building a YouTube channel, but because we follow a lot of YouTubers that do all the family funny stuff, and the challenges. So we was like, why can't we do that? We've got a big family. I mean, me and the missus, I've got 2 kids of her, and I've got 6 stepkids. We've got a big family. Yeah. So why can't we just show how funny our family is, how funny it is to be a big family? So that was the original plan. And then obviously this whole Decker situation happened, and the channel started growing nicely, and I was kind of like, oh. But now I found myself stuck in this fucking rut of a corner of YouTube. And I am trying so desperately to get away from it. Don't get me wrong, I am a bare knuckle fighter. You will see fights on there. You will see training videos and this, that and the other. But realistically, me and the missus are trying to break away from this side of it and get the funny shit up and become a family-based channel where the dad is just a bare knuckle fighter. Yeah. So
I like that.
That's the plan with it anyway, but it's just taking a bit of time to get to that stage, really. At the minute, I'm just finding myself talking about random shit. Yeah. Yeah. But it gets the views and it's bringing the money in, so.
Of course.
That's the main thing at the minute.
Listen, let's talk about 2 or 3 years' time. You know, where do you see yourself?
2 or 3 years' time, I want to be knocking doors for the title, definitely. In 2 or 3 years' time, if I can get these fights to happen and not keep having the same problems that I've been having, and get myself in top shape, which I will be, I can see myself getting over. I want to be over the States fighting at least. That's my main goal. I would take being able to go over to the America and fighting a couple of times and winning the title all day long, just for that experience of getting over to America and fighting. I mean, for me, that's a big dream of mine. I've always wanted to go to America anyway, but so being able to go over there and fight and earn money is, for me, that's more important at the minute. Yeah. So fingers crossed, in 2 or 3 years' time, I'll be able to get over there. Yeah. Yeah, that would be the goal for now.
Sure, you can do it, mate, if you work hard enough.
That's it, mate. It's just down to the hard work, innit? Yeah. That's all we can do right now. Just keep grafting.
Of course, bro. We've got to keep moving, haven't we?
We have.
Listen, we're about to go and have a couple of rounds sparring.
We are.
Circuits and a bit workout. We'll get some food afterwards.
Yep.
Is there any, before we close off, is there anything you want to say? Anyone you know thank from back home? Shout out to your missus, kids, anyone that's helped you along the way?
So I've got a few people. Obviously, I want to shout out my sponsors, Mooks Tattoos and XL Waste Management. Massive part of helping me out with things. Obviously, thank you to my trainer Pete. This wouldn't be none of this would be happening if it weren't for him. So, and then obviously I could say the same thing about the missus, really. Actually, with that. Because at the same time, Pete may be keeping me going in the gym and everything else, but she keeps me going throughout life. Yeah. She's made me a better person. She's helped me find God. She's helped me become the man I am, the father I am, and the person that I'm trying to be and she's there with me every step of the way. So
yeah, man.
I can't, yeah, amen. I can't thank her enough for what she does for me, and yeah, and a massive shout out to the Hells Angels Motorcycle Club. They're also another big part of my career. They helped me with ticket sales massively, promotions, all sorts of things, getting me the right kind of people coming to my fights, and yeah, so
Class,
yeah,
brother.
thank you to all them.
Class, brother. Well, we'll go and have a little game of punch face, and we'll upload the content in a few days.
Yeah.
Jax might be up a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's been an absolute pleasure, my man.
Yeah, thank you for having me on,
I
mate.
appreciate you making the trip, mate, and
Yeah.
you know, we'll go down and do a bit of workout.
That's it. Let's get it done.
Thank you, people. Bye-bye for now.